So imagine this, you're on YouTube listening to the Edge of Extinction cast on ET Canada while doing some work on your laptop. Suddenly, the next video pops on and only one very definitive question is asked to the cast members. Should you tell someone if you have a hidden immunity idol? This sparked my interest immediately, and every single person replied with no. Whether that be early boots like Wendy or infamous returnees like Kelly Wentworth. But one sole individual gave a response like no other, and at the very end of the video said yes. It was David Wright. Now, David played one of the best non-winning games in my opinion. Despite this channel still being just a little fetus, I've already made many videos with him in it, such as the Meat Shield video to the Rock Draw strategy guide. It turns out he's quite a versatile guy. And he's back again, as when I saw he was the one to give a different answer in the video, I knew I had to find David Wright's history to hidden immunity idols. And so, this video about the history of playing a hidden immunity idol for another person has been inspired by Mr. David Wright. So this one is for you. Now, without any further, let's get into the history of people playing idols for another individual. Now, this video was only originally supposed to be the successful idol plays, and a large portion of it is still going to be that, but I couldn't leave you guys hanging. And so the beginning of this video is going to be every failed idol play that a person played a hidden immunity idol for another individual, and it just didn't turn out, and you'll see how that worked out. As well as that, I'll also be covering anywhere in between unsuccessful and successful idol plays, but I'll get into that in a bit. Without further ado, let's get into the failures. Survivor Redemption Island is the first account of this, when Ralph played his hidden immunity idol on Mike Come the Merge. Mike didn't receive a single vote, and it was actually Steve to have his name written down on the parchment. Zapatera struck lucky though, as this was also when Matt returned to the game, and Boston Rob didn't like that. So while Rob tightened his grip on the other 5 Omatepes by removing Matt, Ralph burned his idol, leading his tribe to be exposed, and ultimately they were pagonged into oblivion afterwards.
The following season, in South Pacific, it was 6 versus 6 for tribes, and so Ozzy played his idol for Whitney as he had won immunity that week. Whitney didn't receive the votes, however. That was her other half, Keith, instead, and to add insult to injury, Cochrane flipped on the revote. Ozzy lost an idol, the numbers advantage, and the ability to make the most of his immunity necklace. In Caramoan, Reynolds handed Malcolm his idol. Everything Cochrane's group said irked Malcolm and made him feel he was the target, and so the idol was played for him. Unfortunately, that was not the case. The Majority Alliance fooled Malcolm into thinking he was their target, and instead Michael was the boot. In Cagayan, Tony played his idol for LJ, assuming the perceived Majority Alliance would vote for him due to his strategic nature. LJ then played his own idol for Tony, who is the obvious vote. These 2 idols were burnt though, and Jeffrey received the votes, but was saved by Chaos Cass when she flipped her vote to Sarah and voted her out instead. In Millennials vs Generation X, David played his idol on Ken. Adam heard Sunday and Brett whispering and heard the name Ken, and so made sure to point it out. This was a ploy by the opposing alliance to waste David's idol, however, and so Hannah received 5 votes along with Zeke, causing the eventual rock draw that caused Jessica to be eliminated. In Ghost Island, Michael Yerger found his old tribe 5-4 down come the swap, and at the 4th tribal council that season played James Clement's idol on Stephanie. He hoped the opposing tribe would try to vote out the physically weak of his tribe first to try and win at challenges overall, but he was wrong. Brendan was one of the strongest guys in the game, yet was voted out of this tribal council. In Edge of Extinction, at the final 6, when Chris returned to the game, Lauren played her idol for Chris under the assumption she needed to make a big move. As agreed, when Rick played an idol for himself, Lauren had to keep her end of the deal for Chris. This only blocked 1 vote for Chris, however. Victoria was voted out, and Lauren, with no immunity idol, was easily voted out come the final 5. In Island of the Idols, when Dean played his idol for himself, Jamal didn't want Nora, who he told Dean to vote for, to go home, and played his idol for her. Dean blocked a massive 5 votes cast for him, but Jamal ultimately lost his closest ally in the game in Jack, as the final 2 votes cast for him had his name written down on them. Jamal wanted to cancel out all votes so that they could easily get Karishma on the revote, but unfortunately that never happened. Even though technically Sandra passed ownership of her idol to Denise, I'll still say that giving her idol to Denise, only for all votes cast against her to not count, was a pretty bad idea. She received the last and only vote cast by Denise and was therefore voted out on the game again on day 16. She received Denise's vote and therefore was voted out once again of the game on day 16. Later on, in the final 10, in a 5-4 dilemma, Kim played her idol for Denise and did block 2 votes cast for her, but Tyson ultimately received the majority of the votes at 5 and left the game again. I didn't know where exactly to slot these final 3 idol plays into, because they're not exactly unsuccessful, but I wouldn't exactly say that they were super successful idol plays, and therefore they kind of land here in the limbo tier. Basically, these idol plays happened almost always at the very end of the season, when it pretty much came to the final tribal council for someone to play their hidden immunity idol, and they decided to give it to someone else. The first example of this, as you can see, is Sugar and Gabon, who played her idol for Matty at the final 6, the last time you could play an idol in Gabon, and blocked 2 votes cast against him. Again, Matty would have been okay if she didn't play the hidden immunity idol for him, as it was only Crystal and Kenny's votes that were negated. She didn't have to do this, obviously, because it only blocked 2 of the 6 votes cast against Matty, and Crystal would have went to him anyway, but it still managed to block a few votes and ends her up here in the middle tier. Next up is Tyson in Blood vs. Water. Tyson had a hidden immunity idol come the final 5, and with this being the final time he could play it, he handed it to Jervis. Now this one was a bit more important than Sugar's idol play, because there was a chance of Monica flipping and taking out Jervis, but ultimately Tyson playing his idol for Jervis only negated 2 of the 5 votes casted, and Sierra still would have went home regardless. But still, I can appreciate him putting himself and his closest ally in Jervis into a bulletproof position come the final 5 and guaranteed final 4. In the final 5 of Ghost Island, Wendell decided to play his hidden immunity idol for Laurel. After all, he had just won the immunity necklace and the immunity challenge at that stage in the game. With the final 5 being the last time he could play his hidden immunity idol, he decided that he might as well give it to another companion, and so Laurel was gifted the immunity at this tribal council. Now, it wasn't crucial since she only received 1 vote from Donathan, but still, it debatably helped him out on his road to actually getting her vote at the very, very end of the game, when it was between him and Dominic, 5-5 votes, and Laurel was the final member of the jury. Finally, in Edge of Extinction, come the last tribal council, Rick Devons won individual immunity, and with this being again the last time to play a hidden immunity idol, he decided to hand it to Gavin. Now, potentially giving it to Lauren could have helped, because it would have allowed him a meat shield come the final 4, and someone that Chris might have had to potentially go to fire with, but he decided to give it to Gavin ultimately to try and work some friendship with him, and to try and block any random votes cast against him, but ultimately it didn't matter, as Lauren was eliminated from the game after Chris played his idol on himself. The first ever successful play was in Heroes vs Villains in the iconic tribal, where Russell played his idol for Parvati, negating 4 votes cast against her. It was supposed to be a 3-3 vote tie, but Tyson flipped his vote upon the sound of hearing hot dogs and paid the price by being voted out. Russell Hance's idol play this season is seen as one of the bravest and best idol plays by sacrificing his ability to be protected at a tribal council and instead gave it to someone else. In Karamoa, Malcolm played his idol for Eddie, blocking 4 votes cast against him at that tribal council. Malcolm also played 1 for himself, negating a following 2 votes. It was ultimately Philip who was voted out with 4 votes on the opposing side and was sent to the jury. With Reynolds winning immunity and Malcolm having 2 idols, the trio was immune and safe until next tribal council. In another iconic idol play, Natalie played her idol at the final 5, the last time it could be used, on Jacqueline. With the 3 votes onto her negated, the final 2 were put onto Baylor, the physically stronger and more likely to win of the 2 between her and her mother Missy. This truly was one of the best idol plays, period, and set up Natalie superbly for her final tribal council. In Cambodia, Jeremy played as idol on Stephen, blocking an enormous 5 votes in the final 9. Unfortunately, Wentworth idling out Savage prior is seen as a bigger move, but this one really does not get the recognition it deserves. In my Meat Shield video, I discussed the benefits of Jeremy saving Stephen, and with the threat of an advantage and his strategic mind, Stephen always outprioritized Jeremy as a threat. Basically, this meant Jeremy advanced a minimum of 2 tribals for the cost of one of his 2 idols. A pretty good trade if you ask me. The man himself, David Wright, makes a return once again, as in the pre-swap of Millennials vs Generation X, he played his idol for Jessica. This is tied as the earliest successful idol play and happened in the 4th tribal of that season. David played his idol for Jessica, blocking 5 votes and idling out Paul 2.0 aka Lucy with 2 votes against her. It was an incredible move and offered David a lot of agency in his game. Jessica was loyal to him and even went to Rocks the final 10 to save the people David aligned himself with. Following on from that, in Millennials vs Generation X for the 3-peat of immunity idol plays on another person, Adam played his on Hannah. This was in the final 9 and blocked 4 votes cast against her and a potential 5th if Will didn't flip on his original alliance. This play took out the opposing alliance leader Zeke and allowed Adam's alliance to systematically tear apart the opposing alliance one by one until the final 4. In Game Changers, the 4th tribal was merged between 2 opposing tribes. After Brad advised Ty on how to play his idol, Ty obliged and played it for Sierra, which ended up receiving 6 votes. With that, Malcolm was left vulnerable and was eliminated with the remaining votes. In David vs Goliath, Davey played his idol on Christian, blocking all 7 of the majority Goliath votes. Despite Dan playing his idol for Angelina, the Davids had come up with a never-seen-before minority vote split, resulting in John Hennigan being voted out with 3 votes. This is one of my personal favourite tribals and shows the true benefits and payoffs of successfully playing an idol for someone else. And finally, in Island of the Idols, Kelly Kim decided to play her idol for Dean at the tribal just before the merge. She handed it to him just before the tribal began, and he played it, blocking 5 votes cast against him. And the final 2, as I already said in the Jamal segment, were cast against Jack. So this was a pretty successful blindside for Kelly, especially because she had no blood in her hands whatsoever. To help my channel survive, subscribe to it with the notification bell on. Apparently 50% of all you watching this very video are not subscribed, and hopefully by seeing the work rate that I put into this video and that I will consistently put into various videos in the future, you might end up subscribing to me. Again, I post every single day, Wednesday, Thursday, 6 PM BST, but a subscription does not hurt. Any comments, whether they be constructive criticism, negative or positive, I will take them on board and I will be happy to try and adjust my videos to what you guys want. Again, if you do enjoy the video, a like would also be appreciated. There should be another video going up tomorrow, which is a pretty fun one, so I hope you guys enjoy that. I know that you guys watching the video probably have at least 1 or 2 friends that would be interested in this style of content, where I'll be breaking down various things in Survivor and uploading strategy guides onto YouTube. So if you think that any of your friends or Survivor pals would enjoy that, then make sure to go share the video as well, and that will help basically get my name out there into the community just that little bit more. But thank you guys for all the positivity. It's been absolutely insane. I would hopefully like to hit 100 subscribers by next week, so we'll see how we do by that. But thank you guys for watching this video. I've been Bandit, and peace!